Hi, I'm Marcy, and this is just a little bit about me. So one of the projects that I did working here at Stonewall Farm had to do with a whole bunch of interpretive signs. We received a grant, and I worked with some of my interns to mentor them in developing these signs. They did a lot of the research. We worked with a graphic design artist locally, and we had a bunch of these made. This one was here for the garden, talking about the beneficial and the harmful insects here in the productive garden. And I think there's one over in the dairy barn talking about intestinal pests and all kinds of fun things. I love bugs. What do you think, bugs?
So this is the Stonewall Farm Amphitheater, and this is a project that I was in charge of and thought up actually while I worked here. It's one that I'm pretty proud of. This involved pulling in a lot of different community members and convincing them to volunteer their time and expertise to help us out. And it also required getting the rest of the management team on board with this as a great idea for the farm as well. What I wanted was an amphitheater area for our summer camp to use for storytelling and performances and different community building activities. And it involved a program we had with some at-risk boys, middle school boys, who came out to the farm regularly to do work. And we were trying to find something a little more meaningful for them to do besides cleaning out the barn again and things like that. So we had a forester come out and talk to the boys about a career in forestry and help us select trees here on the property. We felled those trees here, used horses and a tractor to pull the trees out up to the sawmill. And the boys thought the tractor was great fun. I thought the horses were kind of cool myself. We had a sawyer come out and work with them in milling all of these logs and preparing them to build everything that you see here, the stage and the benches, and then we put it all together. Not only was it used a lot by our summer camp, but also we had a lot of interested wedding parties come through here and held quite a few weddings here as well, which was not something that we foresaw, but it ended up being a really great asset for the farm.
Okay. So as an educator, I think that it's really important to also always be a student. And I love taking professional development workshops and things to just continue to grow my knowledge of the outdoors and my fascination with it so that I can pass that on to students. And one of the ways that I teach myself and record information is using a nature journal. And I've taught this as a class for students and for all ages from probably like first or second graders on up through adults. But I also use it myself. This is a page I went on a hike with a mycologist learning about fungus and so forth. So these are my notes and drawings that I did on the hike. Sometimes I'll take notes and then take more time adding into here after the hike or from a field guide. I take it on vacations with me. I traveled to Indonesia a couple years ago, and this was at an orangutan preserve where we went to learn about the efforts that they have going on in Borneo to try to reintroduce orangutan into the wild. And another one, this is from a wild medicinals workshop that I took here in New Hampshire, and just taking down notes, and I go back and read these regularly, or I'll know I learned about something at one time and I want to refresh my memory, and I can go back and check in the pages. Teaching this to students, I always really stress the point that it's not about art, it's not about being an artist or being able to draw, it's about recording what you see and learning how to see it and then put it down, whether you put it down in words or whether you put it down in drawings and lists, photographs, doesn't matter because it's for you. So this is something I like to do on my own time, and it's something I like to teach as well. So, one of the few mosses that I know, Leucobrium glaucophyllum. I like this one because it really stands out. It's got a really awesome green. It stands out on the forest floor. It's easy to spot, and I can remember the Latin on it, which makes me sound really smart. Leucobrium glaucophyllum. I like this one. Ooh, puffballs. So there's two people that I really admire in their work in the environmental education field. And the first one is Richard Louv. I think everybody's probably heard of him. The whole idea of the nature deficit disorder is one I can completely buy into, and I think that what I thought for years, he just was so eloquently able to put into a book, much better than I could have. I talked for years about wanting to write a book, but he went and did it. But I believe wholeheartedly in what he's trying to do, and I'm really thankful that he's in the field. Another person that I also really look up to is David Sobel. He's a professor here in Keene at Antioch New England Graduate School, and he wrote an essay called Ecophobia. And in Ecophobia, it talks about how to deliver environmental education, and it's something that I truly believe in his philosophy on that. And one of his tag phrases is, "No tragedies before 4th grade." And I think that that's really important to keep in mind when we're talking about the environment and environmental issues. When you're working with younger children, elementary age children, you don't want to create a sky is falling mentality. You don't want to scare them and think that the environment is this scary place because bad things are happening to it and people are doing bad things to it and all of that. They don't need to hear all of that yet. The most important thing is to just create that relationship with the environment. It's fun, it's fascinating, there's amazing things happening every day in the simplest little things. And getting kids outside and appreciating that and loving that and feeling comfortable in that and how to explore on their own safely and encouraging all of that, especially in today's digital age, is so important. And how to fix what's going wrong with it, that can come later. And the kids will let you know when they're ready for that kind of information. A perfect story came from when I worked at Little Traverse Conservancy and spent a whole day with a bunch of kids talking about the insects and things that were in the meadow. And of course there were lots of monarchs there, monarch caterpillars, we were finding those. And at the end of the day we were talking about the meadow habitat and the ecosystem and everything that relies on this meadow. And this 4th grader raised his hand and he's like, "What about where they just put in the new Walmart? There's a big meadow there. What happened to all those monarchs?" That's a kid who's ready for more information. That's a kid who's starting to ask those questions. He cares, and that's what we're trying to accomplish, right? So I don't know why, but things like this always make me smile. This is obviously a spot where a squirrel likes to hang out and eat his meals, as evidenced of all the stripped bare pine cones where he's taken the seeds out and all the pine cone bits and stuff left underneath. This meal apparently got interrupted.
One word to describe Marcy is she's very compassionate. She's so easy to work with. She really cares about her students. And she was just so open-minded and helpful in everything that we needed. She was always there to answer our questions, and she made the whole camp experience so much more enjoyable because she was so lively. She added a lot of positive energy, and we were all a little nervous and anxious leaving our homes and spending a month with people we didn't really know, but she made sure that our transition was flawless. From everything from working at the camp and doing our project proposals and interacting with the Indonesian students to how to interact in Indonesia. And she was always there to share her experiences, and we all just responded fantastically to her. All the Indonesian students loved her. They loved how caring she was, and they loved how they didn't feel inhibited by their proficiency in English. Some of them were nervous about speaking English, but she was so comfortable and open and happy that no one felt that they had to be scared or hiding. They just felt like they could try, and she would appreciate their efforts. She would every day organize games for us, which would help us learn more about Indonesian culture. And because of that, because of the Jeopardy and the trivia and all the fun facts we learned when we went to Indonesia and when I stayed with my host families, they were so excited and interested in how much I had already known about their culture. And so she had made it so easy for us to take that extra step so that our Indonesian counterparts would be happy with us as well. We had a fantastic experience this summer, and I really hope more kids get to work with Marcy because she's fantastic in not only teaching, but also enlivening up a place and in telling us her past experiences, whether it's about her family, what she's learned throughout the years, her travels, and I just could not have had a better summer. So thank you so much.
So I hope the video gave you a better idea of who I am, and I guess just a little more personal information. I grew up in Michigan. My husband's from Wisconsin, and this is Bunte. He's from Michigan too. And we're gonna take a little hike now, but hopefully someday soon I'll see you guys in Wisconsin. Thanks.
Hey, all you kids, I know something you might like. Come along with us on our magical hike. Birds are chirping, flying in the air. Wilderness trees, salamanders everywhere. Leave behind the city and all of your cares. Oh, we'll be so happy when we are there. Buzz, 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 croak, 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 croak. Bunk, 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 bunk. This is not a joke. We'll see yellow frogs, green frogs, salamanders too. All the animals in the forest are waiting for you. Hey, all you kids, I know something you might like. Come along with us on our magical hike. Birds are chirping, flying in the air. Wilderness trees, salamanders everywhere. Leave behind the city and all of your cares. Oh, we'll be so happy when we are there. We'll see birds and squirrels nest up in the sky. If we look on the ground, we'll see red fungi. We'll hear mosquitoes buzzing, eating us alive. We'll taste black raspberries in the middle of July. They are sweet and seedy, juicy and purple. We'll leave some in the pond to feed the turtles. We'll follow deer tracks and loop around the bend. Oh, I can't wait to go hiking again. Oh, I can't wait, and I'll bring all my friends. Hey, all you kids, I know something you might like. Come along with us on our magical hike. Birds are chirping, flying in the air. Wilderness trees, salamanders everywhere. Leave behind the city and all of your cares. Oh, we'll be so happy when we are there. Yes, we'll be so happy when we are there.